Hi, hello, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a very late recap of what I read in the month of June. It is now June 7th. I usually do this video a lot sooner. However, I was on vacation, I didn't have my books, and I was in the middle of filming a vlog, so I just didn't get around to it. So now I am home and I am prepared and I am going to go through with you the books that I read in June. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the first one I finished, which was Julia by Sandra Newman. Now, this one I read on my Kindle, and it is basically a retelling of 1984 from the perspective of the character Julia, who is the love interest in 1984. It takes you through kind of the feminine issues surrounding this post-apocalyptic world, or not post-apocalyptic, what is that called? Dystopian. That's the word I'm looking for. So it takes you through the feminine politics behind the world of this dystopian world in 1984 and what it means to be a woman in this place. And it was very eye-opening. It, kind of helped to bridge that gap. So if you've read 1984, I love it, but there are definitely some misogynistic leanings in it. And this kind of helped bridge that gap. And I really, really enjoyed this author's take on that. Sorry, if you hear a lawnmower, that is my husband. He is mowing lawn while I film this video because why not, right? Anywho, so that was not 1984, sorry, Julia by Sandra Newman. And I rated that one, I rounded it up to 4 stars because it was like 3.75 stars for me. And I did really enjoy it, but it dragged a lot. Like, I had a hard time getting through this book, and yeah, that's all I want to say about it. Otherwise, I really enjoyed it, and if you're into retellings, I think this is a good one to go with. Next up, we have The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom, and I actually have the copy here. I need to mail this to my friend Yami ASAP. So this is the one that got sent to me for my Sisterhood of the Traveling Books Club. We basically mail each other books to annotate, and then we annotate in different colors. I don't know if you can see the different colors there. Everybody has a different color, and we annotate it. And then in the back, we have been kind of like writing our little reviews. So this one I gave 3.5 stars to. And I'm just gonna read what I wrote. I wish that I liked this as much as everybody else did. It's totally a me thing. I just have a hard time with self-help and development books. They're always a little cheesy to me, but this one is good for what it was. And I would say that is like as honest as I can get about it. Basically, this book is about Eddie, who is a grizzled war veteran, and he passes away tragically at his place of work through a work accident, and he ends up in this strange place, and it turns out that this is heaven. And in heaven, you go through meeting 5 different people and experiencing something with them that gives you some more clarity as to how you portrayed yourself in life or whatever. Some of them are strangers, some of them are loved ones, but Eddie's 5 people illuminate the unseen connections of his earthly life. He seeks redemption in the still unknown last act of his life. Was it a heroic success or a devastating failure? And the answer, which comes from the most unlikely of sources, is as magical and inspirational as a glimpse of heaven itself. Now, I am not a very religious person. I grew up raised Catholic. I was very religious as a child, but that is not who I am anymore. So things with religious leanings tend to rub me a little bit the wrong way. This one didn't rub me the wrong way per se, but it does have a religious leaning, which kind of made me not love it as much. Also, like I said, it's kind of a personal development book. It's like a fable almost, and those don't really do it for me. I mentioned in a previous video that The Energy Bus is like one of the worst books I've ever read, the only one that I regret reading. So Yeah, sorry, personal development books just don't do it for me. As far as personal development books go, this one was really fun and really good. It read really easy. It was short. I mean, this thing is really short. It's a small book and it's only 194 pages. So definitely think that a lot of people would get something out of it and that it would be enjoyable for a lot of people. It just wasn't for me. So long-winded, but yes, that's what it was. Next up, we have Exit Strategy by Martha Wells. This one I read through Kindle Unlimited. It is I think it's the 4th or the 5th book. I can't remember. The 4th book in the Murderbot series. I have been reading through all of these, and I don't want to tell you what the 4th one was about exactly because it is the 4th in a series, but Murderbot, if you have not watched any of my previous videos or seen anything about it, it is about this like, what are they? Because they're not a he or a she. What are they? They are a security robot. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So they are a security robot who has basically gained sentience, and they hacked their governor protocol or whatever, and they like to watch soap operas and like trashy TV and grumble about humans and say that they really don't like them when everything that they do proves the contrary. So basically they are, I don't know how to explain it really well. It sucks because I really, really enjoy this series a lot. But basically Murderbot is trying to figure out what happened to them and basically having like an existential crisis, and they have these humans that actually care about them and they're trying to help them out as well. So all that to say, Murderbot 4, absolutely loved it. 5 stars. Read the series. I don't know how else to say it. I'm gonna like link one of my other videos because I think I explained Murderbot much better in one of these previous videos. So I will link that like up here, up there, wherever it goes. Next up, I read Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. So this one I read for the Find You book club, and essentially the premise is that, what is her name? Daphne has been receiving notes basically since she was 10 with the names of the men that women, whatever, whoever, I don't remember if she's straight or bisexual or what. Either way, her love interests. She's been receiving notes with their names on it and a number and a time frame. So, and the time frame is how long she will be with that person. So she's been living her life always knowing how long her relationships will last. Well, one day she gets a note on a first date and it has the man's name on it and no end date. So she assumes that this guy must be endgame, like this is her soulmate. And it's an interesting read. I will say that I liked the last half more than I liked the beginning. I think it was it's not a long book. This book is 254 pages. And it took me a while to get to the halfway mark. Once I got past that halfway mark, this thing read like a breeze. But I think there was a lot of exposition at the beginning that it was just okay. I do think that for a romancy type book, there were 2 plot twists that I did not see coming, which was fun. And yeah, I think that the book was good. I think it could have been better though. I was expecting a lot more from it, honestly, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Mostly the half star is for the ending because I really did enjoy the ending. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about it. There are some lovely lines in this one, so let me see if I can find some. Just like her writing is really lovely. That's what I'm saying. I think that this could have been done better, but it wasn't. I often wonder what our responsibility is to other people, how much we owe them. Whose job is it to look out for our own happiness, us or the people who love us? It's both, of course. We owe ourselves and each other, but in what order? So there's lots of lovely lines like that. We are all dying every day, and at some point it becomes a choice. Which one are you going to do today? Are you living or are you dying? So There was some stuff that came up that I wasn't expecting to come up in it. So like I said, it did surprise me in some ways, but for the most part, I thought it could have been better written, especially the beginning. I think if the beginning had been more grabbing, then I would have rated this 4 stars. But because it wasn't, it's a 3.5-star read for me. Next up is Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. This one I read from Kindle Unlimited, and I absolutely loved it. This is my second Sally Hepworth book. I read last year The Soulmate, which I absolutely loved as well. This one follows, I can't remember their names, these 3 foster sisters who have kept up with each other and basically are each other's family. And they, as young girls, they were rescued from family tragedies and raised by a foster mother, Miss Fairchild, on this idyllic farming estate and given an elusive second chance at a happy family life. But their childhood wasn't the fairy tale everyone thinks it is. Miss Fairchild had rules. Miss Fairchild could be unpredictable, and Miss Fairchild was never ever to be crossed. So they were able to break away from Miss Fairchild, and they have never spoken to her since. Well, years later, they're adults. They are called by these detectives and are told that bones have been found at the site of the house where they were fostered at, Miss Fairchild's house. And they would like to have them come in to interview them to see if they could help discover what was the reason behind these bones. So when a body is discovered under the home they grew up in, they found themselves thrust into the spotlight as key witnesses, or are they prime suspects? So it becomes really twisty. You're not sure about the characters because all of them have these hidden backstories, and so it's just very good. There was twists that I did not see coming. I really, really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4.5 stars. So, and I don't really rate thrillers higher than 4.5 stars, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I don't really reread them. This one I actually might consider rereading. Maybe. I will link my vlog post for my Florida reading blog here for it because I read that while I was in Florida and I give a really in-depth review of it there. So, next up is Liar's Beach by Katie Cotugno, another book that I read during my Florida reading blog. This one was a YA mystery, and it is a retelling of Agatha Christie's The Murder, oh my god, what is that called? Oh, this is a retelling of Agatha Christie's Mysterious Affair at Styles, which is the only Agatha Christie book I have read. It is not highly rated on Goodreads, and I kind of see why, but I also don't fully agree. Well, I do. I gave it 3 stars, and basically what happens is that Lyndon is this like poor kid who's pretending to be this rich kid at his prep school, and so he's keeping secrets from people. He goes to visit his rich friends in, what is that called? Martha's Vineyard. And while he's there, someone ends up dead, and it's after one of the wild parties at these kids' house, and someone is a murderer, even though it's being played off as if it's a suicide or a accident. But there is a very good chance that someone is a murderer. So him and his childhood friend Holiday, who just happens to be on this island at the same time, or is it Martha Vineyard's an island, right? I think so. Anyway, they just happen to be on the island at the same time, and they go ahead and start to try to solve this murder. And Holiday is basically our Hercule Poirot in this scenario. So yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. It was definitely a retelling of this story. I saw a lot of the connections to it. I think that Lyndon was very much so similar to the main character in not the main character, but the narrator in Mysterious Affair at Styles. I thought that was an interesting, the way that she made the characters match, but in a modern day sense was very interesting. I just am not a huge fan of those kinds of mysteries. It was a 3-star read. It was fun. It did what it was supposed to do. I felt like I was at the beach. It's a good beach read. Definitely a palate cleanser. I don't think I'm going to be continuing this series though. So that is Liar's Beach by Katie Cotugno. The next book that I read was The Beach Trap by Ali Brady, and I loved this. This is a 4-star read for me, and this follows two best friends torn apart by a life-altering secret one summer to set the record straight. So it follows Kat Steiner and Blake O'Neill, who meet at Camp Chickawa, and they have this instant connection. They become best friends, and something happens to Kat. Her grandfather dies, and her father comes to pick her up. And Blake's been talking about how her father went to this summer camp when he was younger, and how, you know, he kind of disappeared after her mom died. She wished she hadn't. Turns out that, like, they were the other family. Well, Kat's father comes to pick her up, and guess who Kat's father is? Blake's dad. So they find out that they're half sisters, and it completely shatters their relationship. There is a huge miscommunication which takes place between Kat and Blake, which I think was completely Kat's fault and avoidable. It is the one part of this book that I really did not like. Kat, in fact, is very unlikable for I'd say the first half of the book. And then she shows some real character growth, and I really, really appreciated that in this book. So basically, their father dies 15 years later, and he leaves this beach house, this dilapidated beach house on Destin, to the both of them. They get there thinking it's going to be this grand old rich beach house that they can either live in or sell or whatever, and it turns out it was left to both of them. They have to share it, and it's a pile of crap. So they have to renovate this thing together, and they have to do it cheap because it turns out that Kat's rich dad misspent all of their money, and now they are broke. So it's good. And there are actually 2 love stories, and you know me, I'm a sucker for a romance. So there were 2 romances in this, one for each girl, and I really, really, really enjoyed this. There was some third act conflict, that's why it's a 4-star and not a 5-star, but I read through this so quickly. I mean, I think I read it in 2 or 3 days, and it was just so enjoyable. I definitely recommend The Beach Trap. I don't see it talked about at all, and I think it is a lovely mix between like women's lit and romance, like rom-coms. So definitely recommend The Beach Trap by Ali Brady. And finally, I got home and my husband got me a gift. He bought me the Kobo Libra color. I am so thrilled. So immediately I went on to you can actually access the Overdrive like Libby from the Kobo and download books that are available from your library. So I found one that was available right then and there. And that was Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. And I read that one on my new Kobo. And that is Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. This one I gave 4 stars. So Such a Fun Age is basically about this young Black babysitter who is accused of kidnapping her charge at a grocery store one day. The parents call her up in the middle of the night while she's at a party and are like, hey, we're having a family emergency. Can you come take our kid and take her somewhere, anywhere in the middle of the night, because we need to take care of this and we don't want to traumatize her. So they basically have this babysitter come. She was at a bar or a party or something. She's in like her party clothes. She's been drinking. She tells them all of this and they're like, it doesn't matter. Come here, save our lives, please. So she goes. She's at this fancy ass like Whole Foods type place, and they're just trying to keep this kid calm and happy, and somebody reports that there's something strange about it, and not the manager, like one of those mall cops is like, oh, who are you? Where's this child's parents? Blah, 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 blah. And basically because she's Black and the child is white, they accuse her of kidnapping this child. So after this happens, insanity ensues. The mom has never been super like buddy-buddy with the babysitter. All of a sudden, she wants to get to know her. She's being really weird. So it is a page-turning and big-hearted story about race and privilege set around a young Black babysitter, her well-intentioned employer, and a surprising connection that threatens to undo them both. Alex Chamberlain is a woman who gets what she wants and has made a living with her confidence-driven brand, showing other women how to do the same, so she is shocked when her babysitter, Amira Tucker, is confronted while watching the Chamberlains' toddler one night, walking the aisles of their local high-end supermarket. The store's security guard, seeing a young black woman out late with a white child, accuses Amira of kidnapping 2-year-old Ryer. A small crowd gathers, a bystander films everything, and Amira is furious and humiliated. Alex resolves to make things right, but Amira herself is aimless, broke, and wary of Alex's desire to help. At 25, she is about to lose her health insurance and has no idea what to do with her life. When the video of Amira unearths someone from Alex's past, both women find themselves on a crash course that will upend everything they think they know about themselves and each other. With empathy and piercing social commentary, Such a Fun Age explores the stickiness of transactional relationships and what it means to make someone family and the complicated reality of being a grown-up. It is a searing debut for our times, and I completely agree with that. It was so good. There was so much room for commentary. I thought that it was funny. I thought that it was action-packed. The plot really moved this forward, but the characters are where it was at. And really the only likable character was Amira, because everybody else was kind of shit. Yeah. It was really good. I haven't read something like that before, so it was a lot of fun. Maybe there's other books that do it better, I don't know, but it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and it was a really good first reading experience on my new Kobo, and I got to annotate it in color. I don't have it anymore because it was a library book, so it went bye-bye, but maybe I buy it. I don't know. I don't know if it's one that I would reread. That's why it's a 4-star read for me. I think it was a great read when I read it, but I'm not sure that I want to reread it. It hasn't been like, it's not one of those books that's been sticking with me and I'm constantly thinking about it. Let's put it that way. But it was a really good read and I would recommend it. And I could see how it would be a read that someone would think about for a while to come for someone else. So that is the books I read in June. Guys, I think I am finally out of my reading slump. Either that or, and I hate to say it because I'm in the middle of vlogging it, but maybe my slump is not a slump and it's just that I don't love Throne of Glass. Because I started to read this month, and you'll notice there's no Throne of Glass books on this list this month. I started to read Queen of Shadows and I still have not been able to get through it. I started it at the beginning of the month. We're now in July. I'm having a hard time with that series, and yeah, I think it's the series and not me. I think the problem is definitely that series. So I'm gonna see if maybe it's just me in fantasy. I was also thinking that maybe it could just be that I'm not in a fantasy mood anymore. I've been kind of leaning more towards sci-fi and literary fiction, but maybe it's just that specific series. I don't know. I have to do some experimenting this month and see what I see. But yeah, that's all I've got for you for the wrap up of June. And I do have some books I'm in the middle of that I'm just going to save for my July wrap up, because I think all of them, yeah, I'm less than halfway through on that one, less than halfway through on all the other ones. So I'm just gonna save those for the month of July's recaps. If you made it this far, let's put a robot emoji for exit strategy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!